Howdy, howdy, and welcome back to another Workshop Wednesday. This week's edition is a What's New edition. We're going to go through the latest updates to Analytics, Tag Manager, Data Studio. We always look over the last 30 days. So in this case, it's everything that was released in October 2021. Before we go too far into this, welcome. If this is your first Workshop Wednesday, my name is Chris Mercer. Everybody calls him Mercer. You should as well. And I'm the co-founder of a company called measurementmarketing.io. Maybe you found us through our podcast and talks, maybe through some of the content that we share. We share some of our training with some other platforms like Sig Institute, Social Media Examiner, Digital Marketer, Measure Summit. Maybe you're already a member over at measurementmarketing.io, whether you're a free Toolbox member or an Academy member. However you found us, we are thankful that you are here. It's our job to help you keep up with all the latest and greatest with all of these tools. So whether you are the implementer of your team or the strategist of your team or both, this is an important workshop for you to be aware of so you see what these tools can do and make sure that you're taking advantage of everything for your particular situation. Of course, our flagship training program is the Measurement Marketing Academy. We'll give you a quick tour of that at the end of this workshop if you are so inclined to look at particular training options. And of course, one thing is the big deal when it comes to even stuff where you're getting all the updates. You want it. There's a lot of different updates sometimes that comes through. And so you want to pick one that you can take advantage of, practice that skill. Then you come back, rewatch this workshop, pick up another new skill. And that's how you actually integrate these as skills instead of just being overwhelmed and frustrated by all the different changes that are coming through. So remember, just one thing at a time is all you need to do. All right, let's go ahead and get started. What's new? The latest updates to Google Analytics, Tag Manager, and Data Studio that were released in October 2021. Now, of course, we're going to go ahead and dive right in where we always do, which is the framework. Now, why are we doing the framework? Because, plan, build, and launch. We know that people are marketing the blind, and as marketers, we need to make sure that we are measuring things so that the system that we go through, our measurement systems, reliably produce revenue and profits. Of course, that means we plan questions, the information's needed to get those answers, and what actions will we take based upon the answers we get. Then we build, where it's all about defining the results that we're trying to achieve, making sure the traffic is identified, and stitching those things together in a way that displays traffic tied to results in a story form. So it's less data, more story. Now, a lot of the changes that came through today, or I should say really in October 21, the ones we're going to be going over today, really are in Data Studio's updates. That was definitely for the win. So a lot of this is in the story section. You can see some improvements there, and the listening section, which is where you're actually using all the information, all these reports that you're building out in a platform like Data Studio, hopefully, so you can actually listen, you can get your benchmarks, and of course, then you forecast what's going to happen based upon your recent past, you forecast your near future, and then you measure against your forecasts. That's what will tell you what to optimize, because you'll understand kind of where the conversation is changing and where you might want to adjust the conversation to get things even better. So that's the measurement marketing framework in a nutshell. Now, the reason that we bring back, because normally I will do the updates as we go through, but we brought in, again, guest instructor Julie Brade. Those of you in the Academy already are very familiar with her because she's answering a lot of the questions back in Ask Instructor support. She is also our lead, besides our lead instructor, she is also our Data Studio rockstar internally at measurementmarketing.io. She does a ton of stuff with that platform for us. She also helps manage our dedicated measurement management clients, as well as teaching private guided training for clients and teams that need that particular service. So Julie is, suffice it to say, very familiar with Data Studio. And because so many of the updates, she's actually going to go through all the updates, but spoiler alert, sadly, Tag Manager did not really have anything this time, and Analytics had a little something. It was mostly Data Studio for the win. Team Data Studio, they're doing a great job with the updates. They typically do. And so we thought, hey, you know what? Julie does this thing all the time. She can show you what the updates are and a few tricks along the way that she's learned trying to integrate these updates too. Now, this is because a lot of these updates relate to GA4 and Data Studio. And this is important because there's some tricks to the trade that you're going to have to learn as you go through this stuff, of which, of course, Julie will show you all of that. So with that, Julie Brade, I'm going to let you go ahead and share your screens and take it away.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Let's go ahead and dive right into one of the actual more recent updates that is actually quite exciting and kind of a hopefully a clue of what we're going to be seeing as we are ending up 2021. So one of the newer updates that we have with Google Data Studio is that we have newer options with Google Analytics 4. We have a whole host of things that have been allowed to be released into Google Data Studio, and it's all of these items. So it's kind of crazy to think that we've been able to use Data Studio without all of these different e-commerce items. So, and I say items intentionally because, as you know, with Google Analytics 4, it's not called a product or anything like that. It's called an item. And so now we have items, names, categories, and all of these other different things. And so previously we were very limited on what kind of e-commerce reporting that we had access to, but it looks like we are going the right direction. And we will show you just how to go ahead and update that when you are ready. So we did a workshop a few months ago on transitioning dashboards to use GA4. And obviously we said in there in that particular workshop that we're kind of limited on what we are able to use in that particular moment in time. This was the most current version of the truth of what we were able to do. So if we go into edit and come into our resource and manage our resources, we can then go into our GA4 data right here, click on our edit option, and what we are going to do, in just in case if you wanted to know, the instructions are down here as well to refresh the field list. That's all we need to do. We're refreshing the fields because it's going to go into the connector of GA4 and go and say grab the most current version of the list. So if between when they release this list and if there's happen to be new stuff here today, as of this recording, we will see the new stuff too, but this is what we're looking to pull so we can get those items. And if we actually scroll down alphabetically, you can kind of see this list is pretty short compared to Google Analytics. There's nothing that starts with an I on that first option, so we don't even have anything that starts with item as we're scrolling through here. So let's go ahead and refresh our fields, and we see all of this. We do see traffic origin is missing, that they might have just renamed it. And I believe that's probably going to be common on and off for the next few months as they kind of are still getting Google Analytics 4 to be ready as the main platform, because we're still all using Universal Analytics or GA3 as some call it. We're still using that for our main reporting platform, but we want to get Google Analytics 4 ready to be our main reporting platform. So we will see things where they are, it says it's missing, but it's probably just renamed something else. So that's okay. We are going to go ahead and say apply. And it's going to take a moment to do its thinking here. We can see the blue lines going across, and that's okay. And so now if we scroll down, and so remember, if you haven't taken any of our When Google Data Studio courses with us or any of the workshops, the green is meaning it's a dimension, and the blue, if you scroll way down over here, blue means it's a metric. So metric means you're going to do math with it, and green up here means it's a different type. It's basically a dimension, so it's mainly text blocks or things like dates or things you're not going to do math with. And we've already seen as we were scrolling through that we do have all of our new options here, which is fantastic. So we're going to say done and go ahead and close. And so now if I were to want to add something, like if I wanted to add a table, and then perhaps try something in here, which I honestly haven't even got to try this yet because I wanted to do this live with everybody to see what it looks like. And I'm not seeing this pull up, and I'm 99% sure I know why. It's because I have refreshed the fields in this particular data source, but the web address, basically the datastudio.google.com, doesn't recognize it yet. So we're going to refresh this over here. I don't need to refresh. This is just refreshing the data. I don't need to refresh the fields again because I already did that. But what we're going to do is refresh this particular page, actually, just kidding, I see what the issue is. We are actually not looking at our GA4 data. So we are going to go ahead and add it in here. And we're going to type in GA4. And if we hover, we can find it there. Now we see our item. It was a very recent workshop that we've done before when we couldn't get the data to populate for us at the time we wanted, and just a quick refresh was able to do it. So that is why we were going down that route, but we stopped ourselves when we realized, oh, we need to make sure we are in the right spot before we go down that route. So we are now able to see our item, and what we want to just try item name, which I'm pretty sure is equivalent to product name, which for us is mainly one. And since we're looking at a product name, we're not going to really be able to tie it together with views. So if I wanted to see item revenue, possibly, depending on if this particular Google Analytics 4 is set up for that. We've been playing with them a lot, unplugging and plugging them back in. So that is what we have so far, and this is the most recent update with this is most recent update for Google Analytics 4 into Data Studio. So I expect that we're going to have a lot more coming with Google Analytics 4 with Data Studio. So we'll keep you updated on that with next month's What's New. But going forward with other new features that we have with inside Data Studio, you'll see a lot of other neat things that are kind of happening in Data Studio. Not all of them are documented. So if you're inside the platform, you will see these things, and but you won't see them if you're looking for a list. So one of them is over here under Chart Interactions. Before it was called, down here, this option that you would see was called Apply Filter. And I swear every time we taught this topic, I brought up, or Mercer brought it up, that it was horribly named. It just wasn't very intuitive what this did. So what this actually does, and we're going to come up here to one of these options here, because this has more than one. What it actually does is if you turn it on and you go into view mode, you see that my mouse is a actual regular arrow, and now when I hover, I'm a pointer. I can now choose and select and filter my options by this particular source or medium or whatever it is I would want. So down here, that option was not turned on, and so when I hover, it stays the arrow, so that's how you can tell. So it's just a naming thing that they changed. That's all they did. The functionality has not changed at all. So it still works the same way. It's just now it's named something different. And before I go back to show you what the name is, this is also something new. It's just the way you apply, and so drag the field into the canvas to add a chart. This is also something new that's not documented. So it's kind of neat that they have that there as well. But going back to see what the name is called now, it's called cross filtering. So instead of apply filter, it's called cross filtering. So that's the new other option that we see within Google Data Studio as well. And then the other huge update with Google Data Studio is that we have these options for adding different options for your pages. And I'm actually going to come over here to another document that doesn't have the Google Analytics 4 because I didn't want to mess up our little template here. So I'm going to add a page, and this is what we see over here now. This is all new. We didn't used to see it like this. And I've already have this title as this is basically page 1. So this is a page, and here is our, let's say, new page. And if I wanted to add another page, I could just click on this button, add another one, and it happens pretty quick. And then you see these other options that pop up when I'm hovering. So depending on what kind of organization you have and how you have your dashboards organized, these can be insanely helpful for you. For example, if you wanted to have sections for maybe product A and all these different, like how is Facebook doing for product A and Google Ads or affiliate traffic, or you have these different ways of breaking it out, or the other way around. You can have just so many different ways that you could organize that. So we're going to play with this a little bit just so you can see these different options. And let's see here, we can add in a section, and we're going to click on these three dots and say rename, and we're going to say this is a section. And the other really fun thing that you're able to do now is if you click on those dots again, or you can also right click on here and you get the same options. You say select icon, and this is where the really fun part is. So you can now say, give a little image to kind of guide your reader to what they need to go to. So basically you can help tell the story with your dashboard with fun little images. So we have a cart here. So if we want to have that, this is a section. And if I wanted to move it, I can pull it up a little bit higher like that. And if I wanted to add in another section, I could say select an icon, and I can do eyeballs if I wanted to do that. And then let's look at it, what it's going to do when we're in view mode, because it's kind of hard to see here, because even if I close this out and I click on that again, it's just popping over here. It's not exactly how the user is going to see it. So we're going to click on view, and now we can see that it's a little bit more apparent that these are different sections. And again, you see the arrow doesn't change when I'm here, but when I'm on the pages, it does, because it's going to let me click on those. And so there's nothing on the pages. It's not visibly apparent what it's actually changing, but it is. And so then we go back over here and we can look at a header really quick. And then we're also going to put in a divider. Again, how useful these are is always going to be dependent upon like what your dashboard is already organized for, and or what you want to have it and what type of questions you want it to answer. So you don't have to change all of your dashboards immediately because you see all this. Only do this if it's going to help you tell the story better, or if you're creating a new dashboard and you want to guide your client with this cool new feature. So I just want to point out too, with your pages, you're able to add in the icons as well. So if I wanted to have this as a search, I could do that. For the header, there isn't an icon option, so I don't know if that's going to be something they eventually add back in. And then, so you can see we still have the option to hide in preview mode. You can move it up, all these different ways of moving things around if you don't want to use the option of dragging and dropping with the crosshairs. And then let's go back to, here's this untitled section. And so if we wanted to add a page within the section, you now have that. And so you can see here now this section has a page within it. So we're going to call this page within a section. And let's see what that looks like. And we're going to go into view. And so now if I go into this one, so now you can see there's a section and there's a page within a section. Again, just organizing the data a little bit easier to see. And so now you can see if I click on the section, it's, I guess, it has everything tightened up, and then when we expand it, it shows the options within there. So if we go back into our edit mode, we're going to go back into our viewing all of our different page options. And then we could also add in another page. I believe you can go into 3 different pages deep within here. So that's just playing around with it and figuring out if that works for you, if that's going to help you tell your story better and organize your dashboard better. We're still playing with these, and we're using it with certain clients. We're going to use them on directories, making it easier to navigate, loving the icons, and then figuring out the sections and the headers and the dividers and which way is going to help us tell a better story. But as we figure it out, we will definitely let you know what we learn along the way. All right, going into the other platforms. So as of right now, we don't have a Google Tag Manager update for October. There's nothing that we noticed that came through. So we're hoping that in November that we'll be able to see something coming through for them. And then for Google Analytics, there wasn't anything major for the majority of us. However, if you're doing stuff with Firebase, there was a good announcements for you that you're able to do different things within their analysis. So you're able to have these other different charts that you didn't have access to before, which is kind of nice. And so that was the only thing that we really saw with Google Analytics or Google Analytics 4, so or GA3 or GA4, and so that was it. And there wasn't anything for Google Optimize either. So this is the month where it's a little bit slower. And in past years, October was actually, usually packed with different updates and stuff. So maybe in November we'll see a little bit more. We're still expecting those privacy things to come through, hopefully in the next few months, so we can see what that's going to look like, and obviously a lot more updates for Google Analytics 4, as well as Data Studio, because we all know that they being Google wants Data Studio to be the main reporting platform for Google Analytics 4. So I have a hunch that it's going to continue to get better and better with all of these new different features and different controls and things like that. And because there's quite a few different things with Data Studio that they have not documented that are making things better. So just the way that things like just visually it looks a little bit different in certain places, and so just keep an eye out. If you're already familiar with Data Studio, you're going to see things change a little bit, and possibly same thing is happening in other platforms and we just haven't noticed it either. So if you see stuff, definitely let us know. If you're back there in the membership site, we'd love to hear what you're seeing, because we're expecting lots of different changes that are going to come through with Google over the next few months, and we'll keep you updated on the next What's New.
All right. Well, thank you for that. You can see why we love Julie. You do such a great job with this. So thank you, Julie, for all of your help with that. That Data Studio stuff was exceptional because there were some big changes, and I think some of that's not intuitive. I know that was kind of my one thing when I went through it, was looking at that and how when Julie was going through and showing, okay, well, here's how we're going to add everything. You got to refresh your data sources, and there's those little things that when Data Studio, if you've been using it for a while, you got to remember to be able to do that. So I thought that was great. I also really do like, and we are already using in our production reporting, the icons that Julie was showing you. So they've been immensely helpful. Just a very quick pictorial sort of visual way of seeing what a report does without having to even look at the name. It just makes it faster. It was surprising how useful those really were. So I would definitely explore those as well. Of course, next week, we're going to go into a Getting Started edition of Workshop Wednesday, and I'm going to be covering that one. We're going to be going through creating your first Google Analytics account. We will be talking both Google Analytics 4 and Universal Analytics, so everybody can sort of understand how to create a Google Analytics account in the new way of doing it, because it is a little different than it once was years and years ago. If you want to make sure you get that workshop, just subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Be sure to go ahead and hit the notify button, and it will get you notification of these workshops. Of course, the other way you can do it is by becoming a free Toolbox member. That is the Measurement Marketing Toolbox, where the workshops are back there, and we also give out all the different tools. So like for dashboards, we've got the Dashboard Toolkit. We've got a Marketing Behavior Toolkit. We've got Traffic Tracking Toolkits, and more. All of this stuff is free. Available to anybody who wants it. Just ask that you create a membership for it. Again, the memberships are completely free, just a name and email. Just go to measure.tips/WW, and that will take you there. So that's where you will want to see that. Finally, let's talk briefly about the Measurement Marketing Academy. Now, the Measurement Marketing Academy is our flagship program. We built it to help you get through this, to get through the framework, and to go through the framework again and again and again and again and again, because you will go through it hundreds, hopefully thousands of times in your measurement careers. And going through this framework, sometimes you need a little bit of help. You need some support. It's not just about watching a bunch of videos, though, of course, we have that stuff. It's about having somebody there that's got your back, having a team of people who are intimately familiar with how these tools work. More importantly, the strategies to use the tools, because it really isn't the tool that's going to save you. It's how you use the tool. It's how we learn to measure and what we're measuring for and what we do with our measurement. And that, of course, is the Measurement Marketing Framework. A very quick tour of the Academy itself. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Academy here. When you first come in, you'll have access to these 6 core blocks. The 3 of them are content. So the courses themselves, we have on-demand individual workshops, and of course the toolbox. And then you've got a couple of support options. One is Winner Circle, which is the community, the members community. And you also have Ask an Instructor support, support where you can reach out directly to an instructor and have them take a look at what's going on and get some advice from an instructor. So let's go through these a section at a time. The Win courses first. We create these courses. You can see here's the latest with Win Google Tag Manager, the Measurement Marketing Framework. This is one, by the way, if you are a new Academy member, even if you've been around for a little while, this is an important one to watch, to go through this, because it puts measurement in context, especially the strategy of measurement. You can see how they're organized. So each lesson broken down into the various topics. Pretty simple, pretty easy, we try to keep them as bite-sized as possible coming through here, so you can see kind of exactly what to do. You can get exactly what you need. That's the whole point of a Win course. Win stands for what I need. So we try to keep these courses focused on specific purposes. So if we go back into the Win course directory, you'll see, for example, if I click on the Google Analytics, you can see all the Google Analytics courses that we have. So there's all the Google Analytics stuff coming through. I'm clicking way too fast. Look, I let my stuff load here for a second. So first, we do have them organized by date. I want to show that. So we have all of this, right? So you have everything organized by date. And this is just in case you were gone for a few months and you want to come back and you can get caught up on what latest and greatest are. Then when you click in the other tabs, you'll see Google Analytics. This is the same courses, just organized by topic. So there's a setup course, there's a basics course, there's a beyond basics course, there's the e-commerce course, there's Win Google Analytics 4, for those of you wanting to do Google Analytics 4. You can see that was most recently updated in August of 2021. So it was right after the new changes came out. So it's fairly current. Tag Manager, the same thing. You always start with the basics. Then we have Beyond Basics. We've got Tag Manager for retargeting, JavaScript basics, even server side is back there. So we have that as well. Dashboards and reporting for, of course, when you use tools like Data Studio, you can see the basics are there. Beyond Basics, even some basic stuff around sheets or how to track funnels, how to think about what numbers are important, the traffic you're tracking. And then finally, strategy courses. So these are all around how to think. We talked already about the Measurement Marketing Framework. That is absolutely the one everybody should be watching. And then you can go through, how to build a plan, how to optimize, how to forecast revenue and results, because there's different strategies to all of this, including other tools and platforms like Optimize and Shopify's. So we have all of that back here. That's just the courses. I want to emphasize that. Just this little section. So this is not one of those platforms you're going to come in and watch every single course, because to be fair, we create content faster than you can use it. But that's on purpose, because this is a just-in-time learning platform. So we have the courses that'll be here for you, but you also have on-demand workshops. They look like this. You can see the most recent workshop Wednesday will always be there. And then you've got the previous workshops where they've been edited down into what we call student editions. So they are substantially shorter. They've got edited effects in there to make them a little easier to get through. They are obviously there to designed to get people updated and quickly get caught up. So we save with the what's news are all back here. We have all the getting started topics. We have all the beyond basics topics. We've got the strategy session topics. So everything's back here as well. And you can search the database. So you're able to search it as well. And it'll pull up any lessons that might exist around that topic you're looking for, or workshops. So it's a nice way. And to be honest, like, this is why we created workshops, was because sometimes it's just difficult to keep courses up to date. I'm sure you can realize that. If you do a course that's 15 or 16 different parts and then they change something, it's tough. Or they add something, it's tough to redo an entire course. But with the workshops, we can create a workshop that helps with that. So that's why the workshops are there. They help us keep things up to date, like these What's New workshops do, so that you're up to date. That's the whole point of this. Finally, you've got the toolbox itself. These are all the resources I mentioned earlier. So Toolbox members have access to all of these. However, Academy members have access to these, which are the Get It Done guides. So we're releasing new ones all the time. We have the Eyes on the Journey one. That was one of our famous ones. So creating that. And then iframe measurement was one of the most recent ones. So these are kind of like, they're bigger than a workshop because it requires some more videos, but they're not big enough for a course. That's what a Get It Done guide is. So we create those back here for Academy members as well. Again, it's not so that you have to go through and learn iframe measurement, but when you have to measure across an iframe, you're going to be glad a Get It Done guide back here is there for you. So that's it. That's sort of the content section. Then you've got support, because you're going to have questions. Obviously, if it was as easy as watching a few YouTube videos, that's what you'd be doing, but it's not. It just isn't. And so sometimes you need to be able to talk with somebody about the strategy or get some help. And that's where Winner Circle comes in. So Winner Circle looks like this, broken down by various topics. You can see people come back here asking different questions for different things that they need, maybe helping each other out, looking for help or offering help as well. So sometimes the topic is just outside of measurement. It's more like a technical SEO question. And so you can ask about that back here in Winner Circle, but everyone speaks measurement, so they understand why you're asking. We all sort of speak the same language back here. So that is the community a feature, the Winner Circle community. And then finally, the Ask Instructor support. Of course, this is the one most members use. And this is because it goes directly to our instructors. So it's kind of like a connection between your team and our team, where imagine you being able to virtually call over Julie, let's say, to your screen, to your Data Studio report and say, okay, I'm trying to figure this out. This table's not quite doing what I want it to do, or I'm trying to figure out how to get this conversion rate to show up, and being able to show all of that, show your setup, show what you're trying to do, and then have her or another instructor send you back a video that says, okay, well, here's what you should look at. Do this, do that, do the other thing. So you send us screenshots and videos. We end up sending screenshots and videos back most of the time. So super, super useful. And then, of course, once the answers are there, you get to keep them. So they're all back here in your little library that you have access to for as long as you are keeping your Academy membership active. So that's it. You've got the courses, the on-demand workshops, the support system with the Ask Instructor support, additional support with the Winner Circle with the peers back there, and of course, tons of resources with new things being produced fairly frequently as well. That is the one thing we do here. We produce lots of content. Again, the goal is not for you. We're not trying to overwhelm or frustrate you in the content that's back there or to make it harder to get through. It's just to make sure that when you need it, it's there. That's the whole idea. Because that's what measurement is about. It is a journey. You're not supposed to learn everything in 1 second. You're going to have to go through the various stages, and we're there. We've got your back. That's the entire point of this. So again, the highlights are really the courses, the Ask Instructor support, the on-demand workshops, and Winner Circle. Courses, you get access to everything. We don't restrict any of the courses. Any updates, you get them when they are updated. Any new courses that are developed, you get them when they are presented new. So you get them all the time. We actually teach them live too. So you actually get an invite to join the live training. So you can actually ask questions while the course is being taught live. And then it's edited down for the student edition. So just a little FYI there. The Ask Instructor support, again, you can ask as many questions as you want. There are no limitations there. So you can do that. The on-demand workshop library, that's all the workshops, is I think almost over 275 at least now that are back there. It's a ton of workshops. Again, not so you watch every single one of them because you don't need to. But when you have a question about something, chances are there's a workshop or a course that answers it. So that's why we've built it like we have. So it's there when you need it. Winner Circle community, of course, where you can get some additional help. All told, it's about $8,500 in training and support that you've got access to. Technically, it's probably a little more than that now. But there's a lot of value that's back there as an Academy member. So you've got access to well over $8,500 in training and support each and every month that you are an Academy member. So at this point, this is the simple request. I would ask you to consider joining the Measurement Marketing Academy if you like this sort of training, if you like this topic, if you kind of go like, wow, I never thought about something like this. If we've given you pause to think about something in a new and unique and different way, if we've helped you build a skill. Imagine what else is back there with the Measurement Marketing Academy. So check it out. Just go to measure.tips/getacademy to see the most current offers. They are changing all the time, so be sure to check that out. Measure.tips/getacademy to learn more about joining the Measurement Marketing Academy. And of course, we look forward to seeing you back there soon. With that, we'll go ahead and bring this one to a close. This has been What's New. The latest updates to Google Analytics Tag Manager Data Studio are released in October 2021. Thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you on the next workshop. Take care.